Hello, YouTubers, and welcome to Level-Headed News. This is your host, Brenda. I have 15 articles for you in this episode of Political News this morning. Back and fasten your seatbelts. Ride with some of these articles I have for you. All the URLs are in the description of the video for your convenience. So let's get right into them. The first one here is off of Mint Press News, and it says, Eric Holder set to make millions from leading redistricting effort. If the hamster will cooperate and roll her up here on the screen for me a little bit. In June 2012, Eric Holder, then Attorney General, made history by becoming the first sitting cabinet member held in contempt by Congress. The contempt charges were focused around a now infamous government initiative known as Operation Fast and Furious. Gun sales to track buyers who were involved in criminal enterprises in Mexico. More specifically, the U.S. government sold thousands of semi-automatic firearms working with the Mexican drug cartels. The government failed to even notify the Mexican government of the operation. That he fully complied with a congressional investigation into the operation. Republicans held him in contempt. He claimed to know nothing of the operation until documents that were released later showed him. Despite being forced from his position in politics, as evidenced by his appointment last year to the National Democratic Redistricting Committee, called the NDRC. The NDRC, created by former President Barack Obama, exists for an overtly political and very clear purpose, taking aim at the nation's map of congressional districts that helped solidify the Republican Party's control in Washington. Unable to acknowledge other key factors that have led to ruinous state of their party, are seeking to reverse gerrymandering congressional districts so they can win elections without having to make serious reforms. As Politico noted, Democrats are arguing that they have been losing races in large part because they let Republicans tilt the field. Of the party's illegal actions during the 2016 primary and legacy of Obama as contributing factors to electoral losses suffered by Democrats. According to Holder, efforts will unfold on three different fronts, although the ballot referendums at the state level, on the campaign trail for the state and county positions that could influence redistricting room, where Democrats will legally challenge current district maps violation of the law. It is this last aspect of the NDRC's approach that is of special interest to Holder. Holder has been a longtime partner of the international law from Covington and Burling, following his resignation in 2012. Prior to taking the top position at the Justice Department, Holder had worked at several years, receiving a $3 million severance package upon his appointment. As Afro News notes, is set to have a role in NDRC-related legal battles by giving Democrats the legal resources they need to take election fights to the courts. Estimated that the gerrymandering lawsuits will net Covington millions in legal fees. That Holder will be filing of all such lawsuits on behalf of the Democrats. Only be the latest lucrative deal to be struck between Covington and the public sector. The legislature recently announced it would retain Holder and his firm to lead the state's resistance to the incoming Trump administration in the courts. The legislature has no shortage of lawyers, and Covington specific litigation skills that could be needed. Retainment fee has not been set, but some estimates that Holder, already a millionaire, stands to make millions more from the deal. .com. John McCain's campaign manager arrested over pedophilia charges against young boys. Media is silent. Imagine that. Wide-ranging investigation has been launched in Pueblo resident has molested many boys over the years, including most recently when he was the manager for Senator John McCain's presidential campaign office in Pueblo. Under investigation is Jeffrey Claude Bartleson, age 52, who was arrested January the 29th and then rearrested. Campaign worker in the McCain office told police she believed Bartleson molested one of her sons. Wilson, who heads the Pueblo Police Department's Special Victims Unit, said today that there are several active investigations involving Bartleson. Boys will be interviewed by the two detectives who have been assigned full-time to the case. The nature of the investigation, Wilson said he couldn't detail the allegations. However, in affidavits, investigators in Pueblo District Court, authorities say that most recent complaints follow a pattern that dates to. During to Detective Daniel Anderson, Bartleson has usually positioned himself so he is around children, whether as a scoutmaster, as a sponsor of pregnancy unit at View Medical Center, at his church, or simply by inviting children to spend the night at his home. Have mercy. It says in June of 2003, then Representative Scott McInnes in a tribute at the U.S. House of Representatives. McInnes notes that in his capacity as foster parent, Jeff has helped several youth through his work with Young Life Association and the El Pueblo Boys and Girls Ranch. Noted that Bartleson was instrumental in the foundation and development of the Interfaith Hospitality Network, which McInnes, one of Pueblo's newest and help organizations. David Dill, chairman of the Pueblo County Republican Party, said today that although Bartleson headed the McCain campaign office in Pueblo, Bartleson does not hold any position with the Pueblo County Republican Party. He attended a few meetings, but that was the extent of his involvement, said Dill. Dill said he believed that Bartleson directed McCain efforts in southern Colorado. State GOP officials said today they had no contact with Bartleson. That stemmed from a report with Bartleson in the McCain campaign office. According to the woman, she and a co-worker were planning in October to attend a Sarah Palin rally in Colorado Springs, but wanted to travel to the Springs the night before. She told police that she mentioned the planned trip to Bartleson. He offered to keep her 5-year-old son overnight in Pueblo and then drive up to Colorado Springs the next day and meet them there. She accepted Bartleson's offer. Her son told her that while at Bartleson's home, Bartleson insisted on giving him a bath, during which he was sexually molested. The child, Bartleson forced him into Bartleson's bed, was molested. This week with investigators, the child said he tried to get away from Bartleson. He kept pulling him back, finally able to leave when Bartleson fell asleep. The child described Bartleson as a bad man, according to police affidavit. Why the child responded, because he does. Detective Anderson said how he knew Bartleson did this to kids, and the boy responded that Mr. Jeff did this to 5 people, and he knew that because Mr. Jeff told him so. The victim, according to police affidavit, said through the Interfaith Hospitality Network and was molested by him when he stayed at Bartleson's home. So much later, he also was videotaped by Bartleson at Bartleson's house, the youth told police. Bartleson man told police that Bartleson said, "If I told anybody, he'd hurt me." The Pueblo detective who interviewed the second youth said his story about Bartleson touching his genital area matches the modus operandi of victims coming out against Bartleson. Captain Dave Lucero of the Pueblo County Sheriff's Office said that Bartleson is being held on a $150,000 bond for investigation of child investigation of sex assault on a child. Next one we have News Pipeline has the names of CIA intel leakers. Media and Obama lackeys went after the Attorney General. Been on Trump's assertion that Obama administration was wiretapping his communications before the election. Ramifications, the denials from Obama's lackeys with the help of the media, something huge fell through the cracks, which explains why members within the intelligence to leak information on Attorney General Jeff Sessions in the hopes that the media could create such a firestorm. Sessions didn't resign. He simply recused himself of being part of any investigation or prosecution of any existing or future investigations in any matter relating to, in any way, for President of the United States. That's a very narrow scope of recusal, especially since there is no proof that the Attorney General's office is even conducting any investigation relating to the campaigns for President of the United States. The names of the intelligence community leakers. Joseph DeGeneva, the former U.S. Attorney for the District of Columbia under Reagan, to his sources at the CIA, who has confirmed that the names of the intelligence officials, information to the Washington Post and the New York Times, illegally sharing classified information with the media, have been turned over to the Department of Justice, none other than Attorney General Jeff Sessions. CIA officials know who has been leaking classified information to the New York Times and the Washington Post, and officials have passed that information on to Attorney General Jeff Sessions, according to a former U.S. Attorney for President Ronald Reagan. Joseph DeGenova, the former U.S. Attorney for the District of Columbia under Reagan, told LiveZet private conversations with CIA officials, they confirmed that they have the names of alleged leakers and have given the names to the U.S. Department of Justice. And the DOJ are now in possession of the names of some of the leakers, which fully explains why the media rushed to create a narrative by implication when highlighting meetings with Sessions, who was still part of the U.S. Senate with Russian envoys. How would forcing Sessions to resign help those leaders, the media and Obama operatives still holding positions of power? That ties directly into what ANP reported on Saturday that Barack Obama attempted at the DOJ by quietly removing Dana Bonetti from the line of succession in the DOJ hierarchy, put the U.S. attorneys in the District of Columbia, the Northern District of Illinois, and the Central District of California in the direct line of succession. Highlighted yesterday, placed at the head of the line of succession in DC's U.S. Attorney Channing Phillips, who is quite cozy with President Obama and his Attorney General Eric Holder. It says New York Times revealed a report Wednesday that President Obama's staffers left breadcrumbs for anyone looking to undermine the Trump administration throughout the federal government. The revelation by the Times indicates how steady drip of embarrassing leaks has tormented the new administration of President Donald Trump. The Washington Post reported that Attorney General Jeff Sessions had met the Russian ambassador twice in 2016. Sessions was then the junior U.S. Senator from Alabama. CIA hands over the names of the leakers to the DOJ, meaning Sessions now has the names of those to build a case and possibly prosecute for leaking classified information. And what does the deep state Obama immediately do? Leak information on Sessions in an attempt to force him to resign so that an Obama operative would be in charge of prosecuting, or more importantly, not prosecuting other Obama operatives. But unknown to Democrats and even the media, Trump quietly signed the order to put Bonetti back in the line of succession. Bonetti is now the Attorney General and U.S. Attorney for the Eastern District of Virginia. Not only does Sessions' narrow scope of recusal fully in charge of any investigation to the leaks, but campaign against Sessions forced him to step down, it would be the handpicked to be to help the intelligence leakers. Someone willing to prosecute said leakers to fullest extent of the law after building a case against them. Obama administration orchestrated Sessions' meeting with Russian ambassador, or one of the meetings leaked to the press about Sessions' meeting with the Russian ambassador, to which the Democrats started screaming collusion and started demanding Sessions resign, was sponsored by the Obama Justice Department in July of 2016. The two-day event was hosted by a civic organization, Global Cleveland, whose website cites the State Department's role. On 19th, Global Cleveland welcomed roughly 80 international ambassadors to its global partners in diplomacy reception at the Severance Hall, in partnership with the 2016 Republican National Convention and the U.S. Department of State, to nearly 200 Northeast Ohio civic leaders. In summary, the Obama administration left breadcrumbs for his loyal operatives, using those crumbs to leak classified information to outlets like the Washington Post and the New York Times. Obama also tried to stack the deck at the DOJ so that were caught or their names were handed over to the DOJ. Someone very friendly to the Obama agenda would be in charge of whether to prosecute them or not after forcing Sessions to resign. The outcome? Fine. And any case that ends up at the DOJ, if any do, the presidential campaign, his recusal statement deliberately listed Bonetti's name as the person that would be in charge of those cases, not the person Obama tried to insert. Now you have Sessions, who just survived an orchestrated plan to attempt to force his ouster as Attorney General in the possession of names of the people that tried to force him to resign. Those Obama operatives that have been leaking classified information are about to have a very bad year, or 20 to life. Goes off of BizPac Review. March 4, Trump rallier violently beaten. Violence quickly erupted Saturday at a pro-Trump rally at the University of California, Berkeley. The display of intolerance comes less than a month after violent rioting took place at the school over the scheduled appearance of Breitbart News editor Milo Yiannopoulos. There were multiple confrontations during the March for Trump rally, which was part of a nationwide to show unity for President Donald Trump. It's difficult to say who started the violence, but much of it appeared to originate with so-called anti-fascist mass thugs known as Antifa. There were early reports that the pro-Trump crowd was being pepper sprayed. Granted, well, there's a picture of a guy on the ground with a tweet here that says, "Elderly man pepper sprayed by Antifa." And it says, granted, the man on the ground above was seen earlier engaged in an aggressive exchange with an anti-Trump protester. There's some video here. It's caution strong language. So, you can pull this up, read all these tweets, and look at video. It says, media from putting one hell of a spin on events, as seen in a report from The Hill that featured this headline: Pro-Trump Berkeley protest gets physical. Technically speaking, if you are defending yourself from getting beaten to a bloody pulp, that would include the need to get physical. Cisco Chronicle wasn't about to be outdone in putting forth a misleading banner. Sent a tweet out, says, fighting breaks out at pro-Trump event in Berkeley before event even begins. Were on the scene, but never seemed to be where the violence was taking place. And there's a whole slew of tweets and pictures of what all took place and some video about that. You can pull up that article and take a look at that. Back review. And it says, Levin delivers devastating case against Obama and men's wire scandal with proof the press won't show. Conservative radio host Mark Levin made the case that former President and his operatives have actively worked to spy on and undermine President Donald Trump and his administration. Levin spoke to Fox and Friends on Sunday and used liberal news sources to essentially prove that the Obama administration was behind spying on President Trump and others in his campaign during the election. 6 agencies, including the FBI, CIA, NSA, DOJ, Treasury Department, Financial Crimes Enforcement Network, and representatives of the Director of National Intelligence, were involved in investigating the Trump campaign. Are you telling me that Barack Obama didn't know what was going on in 6 agencies? Levin asked. The case Levin made, all with publicly available information, it's tough to believe. And there's a couple videos here that you can pull up to watch on this. It says many on social media believe Levin is proving to be former President Obama's worst nightmare. And there's a whole slew of tweets on that if you want to. The next one is off of Conservative Tribune. And it says, Labor Secretary nominee's family received nooses and fake anthrax rather than just protest peacefully to express their opposition to the nomination of fast food executive Andy Puzder, Department of Labor. Some deranged liberals, methods better suited to terrorists. With conservative talk radio host Hugh Hewitt, secretary nominee, he dropped out on February the 15th, said that he and his wife were subjected to terroristic-like threats after he was nominated 2 months ago by President Donald Trump. Left at our house addressed to my wife that had white powder in it, a pink piece of paper with on it, and then obviously the white powder was in a plastic bag, but and a little powder came out, he said. We had an FBI counter-terrorist team come to the house, he added. We had a couple fire engines with hazmat teams in the neighborhood to pick up the envelope and have it analyzed. Although, according to Puzder, his wife received a paper doll with a noose around its neck. Account at CKE restaurants was hacked by outsiders, and minimum wage activists harassed him at his home in Tennessee. $10 sent 8 to 10 demonstrators to our front door when my wife and I were sitting here on one Saturday afternoon, he said, referencing the activist group fighting for the increase in the federal minimum wage. They had a panel van that drove around our area here where we live in Tennessee with billboards on the side claiming abusive to women. And there's some video here if you want to pull it up and take a look at that. It says, I'm trying to get the hamster to cooperate. Come on, hamster. It says, listen to the relevant portion of the interview below. So if you want to pull that up and view that, you can. It says, though his family was supportive, Puzder eventually decided to step down, leading Trump to nominate someone else for the position. All of that obviously intended to end, he told Hewitt. And you know, my wife, at one point, I told her, I actually said, look, this is too much pressure on everybody. I think I should just withdraw my nomination. In a nutshell, do as we say, or we will harass, bully, and intimidate you and your family. What a loving and tolerant political ideology, eh? The next one is off of BizPac Review. Lynch shocks with new video that calls for marching, blood, and death. I mean, whatever happened to treat other people the way you want to be treated? Where did that go? All right, let's read this. It says, there is little doubt the Democrats are now all in on the effort to destroy President Donald Trump, amid growing concerns over former President Barack Obama working to undermine the Trump presidency. His then Attorney General, Loretta Lynch, issued a call to action of her own last week, which has some for civil war. In a video titled Never Been Easy, hosted On the U.S. Senate Democrats' Facebook page, Lynch delivers a dark, cryptic message about bleeding and dying that evokes the founding fathers in her appeal to progressive Democrats. Ordinary people who simply saw what needed to be done. They've marched, they've bled, and yes, some of them have died. We have done this before. We can do this again, Lynch says. So here in this, if you want to take a look at it. One guy tweeted, "You guys seen this? Appears to be a call for civil war by Loretta Lynch, released today by Senate Islamo fascist Dems." The article continues. It says, for several years, the Democratic Party media allies Tea Party groups for violent rhetoric that didn't come close to Lynch's call for marching, blood, and death. Okay. But don't take my word for it. Here's her full statement. You be the judge. It says, I know that this is a time of great fear and uncertainty for so many people. I know it's a time of concern for people who see our rights being assailed, being trampled on, and even being rolled back. I know that this is difficult, but I remind you that this has never been easy. We have always had to work to move this country forward to achieve the great founding fathers. It has been people, individuals who have banded together, ordinary people who simply saw what needed to be done and came together and supported those ideals. Difference. They've marched, they've bled, and yes, some of them have died. Very good thing is, we have done this before, we can do this again. Here's a quick sampling of some of the early reactions to Lynch's message from Twitter, and I'll read a couple of them here. One says, former Attorney General Loretta Lynch delivers a highly controversial message. Another one, let's see, I'll scroll down a little bit. This one says, need more blood, death on streets, Obama Mafia promoting Chicago-style violence on U.S. streets. Wow. Wow, that's all I can say. I cannot comprehend the mentality behind this. This next one is off of BizPac Review. It says, Mexico puts deportation to U.S. consulates, but don't worry, we're not really promoting illegal. Yeah, easy for me to say, right? We're not promoting illegality. There we go. Insisted it's not promoting illegality. Oh, mercy. Come on. Enrique Pena Nieto, there we go, is investing $50 million to provide free legal aid to illegal aliens fighting deportation from the United States. Mexico is opening legal aid centers in all 50 to help illegals from being deported. Sounds like it doesn't want its people back. The move comes as tensions mount over President Trump's crackdown on illegal immigration and plans to build a border wall. Mexican consulates are partnering with nonprofit groups, immigration clinics, and to fight deportation of the criminal illegal aliens, Fox News reported. The illegal aid centers are not prompting illegality, but rather exercising a moral imperative, Mexican Foreign Minister Luis Videgaray said. Mexico claims it's not promoting law breaking, even though it's actively helping criminals who broke U.S. law to continue breaking the law. Let that sink in. President Trump has come under fire for enforcing long-standing U.S. immigration laws that former President Obama never got criticized for, even though Obama deported more illegal immigrants than any president in U.S. history. Immigration costs U.S. taxpayers a staggering $113 billion a year. Research shows that many illegals do not pay income taxes, but do collect welfare through their U.S.-born children. So they're a massive drain on the economy. There's an alarming drug epidemic spreading across the United States due to massive amounts of illegal drugs pouring across the Mexican border. President Trump does not plan to deport all illegal aliens, but said he will deport illegals who commit felonies or violent crimes. It's hard to see how anyone can find fault with that. In 2013, the United States gave $420 million in foreign aid to Mexico. We never asked for anything in return. Asked that they respect our sovereignty? It is the right of every sovereign nation to enforce its borders and decide who it lets in. Instead of investing $50 million to help illegal immigrants break American laws, perhaps Mexico should use that money as a down payment for Trump's wall. Because the wall is going up, whether Mexico likes it or not. Or better yet, perhaps Mexico could invest that money toward improving its own country so its people aren't constantly trying to leave. We have is off BizPack Review. It says, WAPO ridiculed for sob story ever about how Mexico's economy will suffer by returning immigrants. The Washington Post is concerned about lower wages because of illegal immigration. It isn't the wages of Americans the liberal newspaper is worried about. The concern is with the struggles deported illegal aliens might face when they return to Mexico. New enforcement policies announced by the Trump administration last week that dramatically expand the pool of undocumented immigrants. Mexico is bracing for an influx of men and women like them. Reporter Antonio Alibio wrote in an article titled, After Decades in America, the newly deported return barely recognized. Their arrival, along with a surge of undocumented immigrants, leave the United States voluntarily, transform Mexican society the way that their departure did. Imagine that. An influx of immigrants can be disruptive to a nation and its economy. Since President Trump took office in January, the number of U.S. government landing in Mexico City loaded with deportees has jumped from 2 weeks under President Barack Obama to 3, Mexican officials said. Olivia wrote, the arrivals include convicted felons, but also many without criminal records. But it gets better. Olivia spoke to a Mexican official who complained that returning Mexicans don't speak the language. Many of these people come not knowing how to speak Spanish. Secretary of Mexico City's Labor Department, Amelia Garcia, said, they come feeling very bitter, very ashamed, and very hurt. And then the WAPO article pointed that returning immigrants injure the wages of blue-collar workers. More returnees means lower wages for everybody in blue-collar industries such as construction and automobile manufacturing, where competition for jobs is likely to increase, economists say, the report stated. If you didn't know any better, you'd think this was written by a Republican about illegal aliens coming into America. Editor Kelly Riddle ridiculed the article on Fox and Friends on Sunday, and there is a video of that in this article if you want to take a look at that. BizPack Review. Yes, Sean Hannity trolls Lindsey Graham, suggests a betting pool after his telling town hall. Sean Hannity asked the question on the minds of many Republicans after Lindsey Graham's town hall. Republican South Carolina senator officially switching his party to Democrat. Graham told the crowd at his town hall, who were decidedly not on the side of President Donald Trump, if President Trump's accusations of wiretapping by former President Obama were correct, it was the biggest scandal since Watergate. Quick to cast doubt on the president's claim. I'm very worried that our president is suggesting that former president done something illegally, he said. I would be very worried if, in fact, the Obama administration was able to obtain warrant lawfully about Trump's campaign activity with foreign governments. So it's my job as United States Senator to get to the bottom of this, Graham said. I promise you I will. That booed when Graham said he planned on working with President Trump on the majority of his agenda cheered at that statement. The next article I have is off of Natural News. And it says, way beyond Watergate, Obama bugged Trump Tower. The latest bombshell out of the new administration in Washington, D.C. reveals that former President Barack Obama bugged Trump Tower during the election campaign to spy on Donald Trump and his staff. The action, now confirmed by President Trump, has access to all intelligence briefings, is the latest explosive revelation in a long list of damning findings about Obama, Clinton, and the DNC. findings is the shocking revelation that CNN rigged the presidential debates in favor of Clinton by arranging for Hillary Clinton to receive the debate questions in advance. Now, not only is Obama caught wiretapping Trump Tower during the election, he's also running a shadow government that exploits his remaining appointees throughout the federal bureaucracy to campaign of illegal leaks and deep state sabotage attempts against the sitting president. Part of that shadow government operation also targets Trump supporters in the media. Natural News was recently targeted for an attempt to take down that failed. Acts of sedition. In essence, Barack Obama is engaged in clear acts of sedition and is attempting to overthrow the legitimate government of the United States. As I've stated before, the only way Trump is going to be able to stop this, making arrests across the so-called deep state and start charging these traitors with sedition or treason as appropriate. Radio host Mark Levin via RealClearPolitics.com, there's a much bigger scandal here. We have a prior administration, Barack Obama and his surrogates, Clinton and her party, the Democratic Party, who were using the intelligence activities to surveil members of the Trump campaign and to put that information out to the public. Those are police state tactics. Nothing Flynn or Sessions has done is even in the same category as that. The question is, was Obama surveilling top Trump campaign officials during the election? This is true. The FBI did a preliminary criminal investigation based on a potential connection between the server in Trump Tower and a couple of Russian banks. That turned out to be a dry hole. But one of the most outrageous things I've seen, totally uncovered by the media. Instead of closing the investigation, the Obama administration tried to turn it into the FISA court investigation in June 2016. Apparently, the first application they submitted, Obama had my wires tapped in Trump Tower, quote. Earlier this morning, Trump tweeted out this statement in discovering that former President Obama had bugged Trump Tower. Terrible. Just found out that Obama had my wires tapped in Trump Tower just before the victory. Nothing found. This is McCarthyism. Trump Tower by a sitting president is far worse than anything Richard Nixon did in Watergate, by the way. This is a clear abuse of power by Obama in an effort to sabotage the Trump campaign and ensure Clinton victory so that Obama's own policies could continue. How low has President Obama gone to tap my phones during the very sacred election process? This is Nixon Watergate. Bad or sick guy, was a tweet that Donald Trump put out. This is the latest revelation and how devious and criminal former President Obama really is. As I wrote on January the 24th in this article that named Obama as a sleeper cell traitor in America. And you can click on that if you want to. That's a hyperlink. Leaving the White House is a sleeper cell. Barack Hussein Obama, an enemy of liberty, a serial liar, and someone who meticulously followed a Soviet-style plan of subversion to destroy America. Let's hope Trump initiates criminal investigations into at least some of the anti-American hucksters and mafia bosses who ran his regime. Loretta Lynch, Eric Holder, etc. Over the last 8 years, Obama has systematically assaulted America's economy, culture, liberties, and international reputation. Aided America's enemies like Iran while stifling East like Israel. His political decisions, both domestic and international, have been designed from the start to weaken and disrupt the United States of America while empowering America's enemies, both domestically and overseas. I get the sense that a new civil war is still brewing, and that the radical commies on the left cannot be reasoned with, bargained with, or negotiated with. They will sooner or later have to be utterly defeated once and for all by the legitimate defend the republic against its enemies, both foreign and domestic. It is time. Try this again. Is it time to issue arrest warrants for Obama's gang of traitors? Today, in light of these latest bombshell revelations about Obama's bugging Trump Tower, I repeat my reminder to President Trump and the American people. Arrest warrants need to be issued for Lynch, Holder, Lerner, and even Obama himself. These people are criminal traitors to America. They have each engaged in criminal actions as part of an effort to rig the elections, destroy the Bill of Rights, and silence political opposition through the abuse of power. By now, I suppose President Trump has come fully to realize how dirty, vicious, and dangerous the American left has ultimately become. They are waging an all-out war against America, and they must be stopped to save the republic. The time has come for Trump to invoke the power of the presidency to unleash investigations, indictments, and prosecutions against the Obama leftovers, actively conspiring to overthrow the U.S. government. The next article is off of Liberty Writers. Alert. Obama just caught doing something sick to impeach President Trump. He must be stopped. A new report has just been leaked to the Daily Mail, direct from family friend of Obama, confirming the former president is now working on a top-secret plan to overthrow President Trump. The friend revealed that Obama plans to force Trump out either through a resignation or an impeachment for the sole purpose of protecting his own legacy. That's the most un-American thing I have heard in my entire life. His secret weapon is Valerie Jarrett, the former chief advisor to the president, into his $5.3 million DC mansion. Not only that, he plans on using the $60 million he made from his book deal to fund his crusade. Even more real, failed Attorney General Eric Holder told reporters just the other day, it's coming, Obama's coming, ready to roll. However, the family friend also revealed that Obama is not the mastermind behind the coup. In fact, just acting as Valerie Jarrett's bitch. No longer the most powerful man in the world, he was just observing Trump and not liking what he saw. He is weary and burned out after 8 years in office, but Valerie convinced him that he didn't have any choice if he wanted to save his legacy. He bowed to Valerie's political wisdom and advice. Jarrett was secretly running the United States the whole time Obama was in office, all over the internet, so Trump can prepare for this very real threat. This is Obama's plan. He is dangerous, and we must stop him. The next one I have is off of Liberty Writers, and it says, Obama is sweating bullets after seeing what Trump just told his men to do to him. People got screwed by Obama. If you didn't know, Obama's administration funneled billions of dollars into a Department of Justice slush fund scheme for congressional investigators. The GOP just cut Obama off. Don Ratcliffe, a Republican of Texas, told Fox News about what Obama was doing. It's clear partisan politics played a role in actions that were made. The DOJ is the latest place the DOJ is the last place this should have occurred. Obama made even the Department of Justice crooked. Lord, sometimes the irony just writes itself. Advocates for big government and progressive power are using the Justice Department to extort money from corporations. Fitton told Fox News, it's a shakedown. It's corrupt, pure and simple. By the Republicans to get rid of investigators have accounted for $3 billion paid to non-victim entities. This means that Trump is draining the dang swamp. The reason the media keeps attacking him is because he's doing such a good job. If you want to pull it up and take a look at it. Obama's abuse of power are egregious. Therefore, disgusting. The government better start working for the people again. Cut the crooked politicians out before thousands of Americans show up with pitchforks and teach these idiots some old school American democracy. The next article is off of OP, the Daily Dose. Drugs, prostitutes, and strip clubs. Biden's family drama is nothing short of stunning. detailed a rocky relationship with husband Hunter Biden, abuse and infidelity dating to at least 2015. Hunter's brother, former Delaware Attorney General Beau Biden, died of brain cancer, according to court filings. Reports Hunter and Catherine have been separated since July of 2015, and CBS News reported that Kathleen claimed Hunter squandered the couple's money on drugs, alcohol, and prostitutes since then. Meanwhile, the New York Post page 6 reported that Kathleen Biden had thrown Hunter out of the house since that July, when his behavior created a situation that was unsafe or traumatic for the party's children, and his judgment is frequently impaired. Kathleen filed for divorce in December last year. In a court filing last week, she asked a judge to order Hunter to stop spending the couple's remaining assets. Throughout the party's separation, created financial concerns for the family by spending extravagantly on his own interests, including drugs, alcohol, prostitutes, strip clubs, and gifts for women with whom he has sexual relations, while leaving the family with no funds to pay legitimate bills. His ex-wife alleges that Hunter maxed out available cash advances and spent nearly $122,000 in just 2 months. Behavior. The family now owes $300,000 in taxes and have a double mortgage on their home. In 2014, Hunter was discharged from the Navy after he tested positive for cocaine. In 2015, his name appeared on Ashley Madison, an online dating website for married people. Next article that I have for you. Party. It says, well, it's jumping around here, so hang on until the hamster decides to cool its jets. Texas hospital hires Muslim lab tech, then found out what he did to patients. Diversity and political correctness often have a price in terms of quality, but sometimes the repercussions for trying to make liberals happy are far worse. Months of working as a lab technician at the Children's Medical Center of Plano in 2015, it was discovered that Muhammad Ali had molested around 6 patients, all children, while giving them medical assistance. After he began his work in the lab during March of 2015, the 46-year-old admitted to touching girls who were between the ages of 12 to 15 in December of that same year. The girls courageously stood up to his behavior and told their parents and police about the man's crimes. The 24th, Ali pled guilty to 7 counts of indecency with a child. The encounter occurred in December of 2015. A young teen girl over her clothing while she was getting her blood drawn. Woke up, 5 other teens told similar stories. Guilty to the second-degree felony in order to make his prison sentence only, which is 1 year shorter than the maximum sentence. Shocking is that the hospital put Ali on administrative leave after the girls came forward. He wasn't terminated from this position until just before he was arrested. Try to assure the American people that Muslims mean no harm to us and that we should embrace them. But we cannot embrace this despicable behavior just because it's lawful in Islam does not make it crime here. Too often cases that involve a Muslim in the medical field go unreported. In July of 2016, a man by the name of Dr. Khalid was arrested for asking for sex online from a girl who was only 13. Police posted a child online police posed as a child online to catch him in the act. In May of 2016, a Muslim family gave their 17-year-old girls over to a Muslim physician in order for their genitals to be mutilated. The girls were found screaming, and one died from blood loss. A female genitalia mutilation happened in the UK when a Muslim doctor by the name of Dr. Danown Harmonise, I'm not sure how it's pronounced, performed the procedure on an infant. Did you hear that? On an infant. He mutilated the mother's genitals after the birth to prevent her from having sexual pleasure during intercourse. The list of horrific incidents of Muslim healthcare workers committing crimes goes on and on. We cannot place ourselves in their care, especially not our children. All of these criminals need to be brought to swift justice. In this episode, if you like what I'm doing here, give it a thumbs up. Share it on your social media so everybody gets to hear the news. And if you haven't subscribed yet, please do. And that way you'll stay informed.